For the deen, there is no price high enough. They will sacrifice their life, their wealth, everything for the deen. Their emotions, everything is sacrificed. There's no holding back. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nasalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Welcome to this series, Check Yourself, meaning check yourself before Qiyamah in the light of the hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where we focus on those hadiths that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in it he mentioned the corruption, the degeneration of the people, so we can avoid those pitfalls, inshallah. So last week I finished the hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I didn't explain it fully, that the trustworthy person will be made untrustworthy and vice versa. The trustworthy people are who? Historically, if you look at it, who are the trustworthy people? Generally, we understand hadith and the trustworthy people that are alive. The most trustworthy person is who? Is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Have we made Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in any shape or form untrustworthy? Sometimes by actions, sometimes by denying or not acting upon his hadith. Have we made the Sahaba radiallahu anhum trustworthy? Have we made the great Imams who've transmitted the deen with an amana, with trust? And there are scholars today, unfortunately, who put themselves on the same level and footing as the Imams of the past. Actually, they even talk down to them, to the point of that they themselves have been made by the community as giants and regarded as giants and intellectuals. And they override and talk about the great Imams of the past who are considered the most trustworthy people. The people that feared Allah the most, they had greater intellect, they had a greater sense of amana, they had less connection to dunya, they had more piety in their life, more intellect, more ilm, and they're more closer to time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those people like Imam Hanifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad Hanbal and others, they have been regarded as untrustworthy in the sights of many today. That we don't consider their word more heavy. Today somebody comes along and talks and overrides their words in the name of modernism and so forth. While the person living today will be regarded as untrustworthy by the people of that time. If he sees practice of deen, that will not be considered as a trustworthy person by the standards of that time. And the people of that time, their standard was so high, and those Imams were a high standard of taqwa and fear of Allah in that time, and they've been regarded as in today, and we don't pay much attention to what they're saying. Although they showed us how to apply the Quran and the Sunnah, the Deen, completely in the proper. So this thing is happening in our time. And I mentioned this why? Because after I did the recording last week, I did the video last week, I heard one alim talking about a certain masala, and someone quoted Imam Nawawi rahmatullah. The person who died at the age of 44, because of knowledge, never got married, serviced the ummah, left huge encyclopedias of works for us. The ulama averaged what he wrote in his lifetime from the day he was born till the day he died is 6 pages a day. That was his average rate of writing, and left a treasure trove of ilm and knowledge for the ummah. This imam on a certain Middle Eastern satellite channel, when the alim quoted him that Imam Nawawi said this, he said, in his own, I'm putting in my own words, but pretty much said, don't worry about him. A person 700 years ago with his fear of Allah, his genius, that this person is not even the dust on his shoes, and he talks. So he made in his sentence, and he's regarded as trustworthy, and everyone nodded at this person. So isn't that a sign that the trustworthy have been made untrustworthy, and the untrustworthy of that standard of their time has been made the trustworthy and the genius and the great intellectual of our time? There's so many cases of that time. So this is an example of how the untrustworthy we made trustworthy and vice versa. The next hadith which I'll start off with today, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال سيأتي على أمتي زمان يكثر فيه القراء ويقل فيه الفقهاء ويقبض العلم ويكثر الحرج ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك زمان يقرأ القرآن رجال من أمتي لا يجاوز تراقيهم ثم يأتي من بعد زمان يجادل المشرك بالله المؤمن في مثل ما يقول. So in this hadith, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there will come a time in my ummah, there'll be many qadis, reciters of Quran, but there'll be very few jurists, very few people who have a deep understanding of the deen. And knowledge will be seized or be lifted up. In other hadiths explained as the death of the ulama. The senior ulama of this ummah will pass away. And this Ramadan, so many great ulama, they passed away this Ramadan. Probably unnoticed because we all worry about our own lockdown and so forth. وَيَكْثُرُ الْحَرَجِ. There will be fighting and fitna that will increase. And then there will come a time the Quran will be recited. So that first part, Rasulullah said, and this is the era that we're living in right now. Many qaris are there. And as time is going, there's great ulama, the people have great depth of understanding, they're passing away very quickly actually. So the sign that you have many qaris and reciters of Quran is problematic because this obsession with qaris that we have now with YouTube channels dedicated to people who are like almost like singers in the way they compose Quran ayat. And it's a sign of the people what they're obsessed with. They're obsessed with apparent beauty. And they're not like all Muslims of the past were. They had a love for knowledge because it led them to practice. Right? So they want to understand the depth of Sharia, the depth of deen. And now we have a very superficial aspect of deen, which is a sound that a person makes, which is important to read Quran properly, but it is a less important thing than actually getting correct understanding of what Islam and deen is. And we justify it, and we have Quran competitions and with these things, which are strange things. Maybe they'll encourage someone with Quran, but the obsession is not with understanding and practice deen. It's with beautiful sounds. It's almost like the Quran and these qaris are made like into a jukebox, and we flick through them based on our mood. So this is something to worry, because Rasulullah ﷺ said one of the signs of Qiyamah is the increase of qaris, and very few people who will deeply understand the Sharia and the deen and be able to, with a full range and depth, with all the spirituality, be able to explain what the deen is and how to apply the deen and how to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. And Rasulullah ﷺ further, then there will come a time after that a person, he will read the Quran, but he will not go past his throat. He'll recite the Quran, but it will be just a voice. It will be just, and he goes, it will not even affect anything. It will not affect the heart. There will be nothing to it, just a sound. And this is Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned about people, munafiqeen, hypocrites, read the Quran and they will not go past. Allah save us from that. Then there will come a time that the idolater, the mushrik, will debate with the mu'min, and he will debate with them. And if you look at it, who are the ones debating? A type of mushrik of our era is the atheist. The atheist is a type of mushrik, in a way, because a mushrik believes in is adding gods, while the number of gods, it's still related to God, that they are adding additional gods to Allah. While the atheist denies all gods, he reduces down to zero. And and if you see the atheist and the mushrik, they have a very similar aggressive. There's a lot of research and tahqiq done on this. They have a very similar mindset, because the idolater, he attributes to ghayrullah, false idols and statues and so forth, spirits or whatever it is, or nature, attributes things that are not, they're Allah's characteristics. Like this is the God of rain, na'uzubillah, or this is the God of giving children, or this is the God for this. This is shirk. And the atheist takes all the attributes of Allah, all the things that happen in the universe, all the rizq being given, all the creation that's happened, and attributes it to nature or coincidence. At least the mushrik of the idolater is trying to focus on some being that has a power to, in their mind, benefit harm. The atheist just takes all the agency and power and the qudrat of Allah and attributes it to nothingness. So he's even more foolish. The atheist is more foolish than even the mushrik of Makkah. And you see them similarity. Their aggressiveness is very similar towards the believers. Like the mushrikeen used to come with a bone, and because they used to deny akhirah as well, they used to come and smash the bone in front of Rasulullah ﷺ. Are you saying this is going to come back to life? It's mentioned in the Quran, and this aggressiveness exists. You see this in the atheists. It's very evident. The second hadith for today, and the fourth one in the list. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم سيأتي على الناس زمان يخير الرجل بين العجز والفجور فمن أدرك ذلك الزمان فليختر العجز على الفجور. Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه also narrated that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, there will come a time on the people that a person's choice will be to be either considered foolish, incapable and weak, or that he has to choose sin, to commit sin. He'll be given business options that you choose this. No, he said, no, this is haram, it's got interest in it. he said, you're a fool. You don't know how to do business. You don't know how to get ahead in life, as an example. Right? Or someone wants to choose to become an alim or study deen. So you're becoming a mullah. In our part of the world, they insult people who want to study deen and dedicate themselves to deen. So either you have a choice of two, you'll be given a choice. Either you become a foolish person in the community, or that you participate with everybody else and become sinful with everybody else. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he advise then? If you come to that time, you're not progressive enough, brother. You got to modernize with the times. What is this beard that you're wearing? Why are you wearing this for? This is the things you'll hear this. Why are you adopting the sunnah dress? Why are you, these are things. Either you have to choose the turn away from deen and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or you have to choose. So this person, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you find that time, then choose to be that weak position, incapable, what people will consider incapable, foolish, and I mentioned this last week as well, over the sins. Especially when it comes to halal and haram and sins and wickedness, then you should choose. Brother, no, we have to sit, men and women have to sit together in mixed gatherings. This is a different time, brother. So many different ways people come. And they will try to change the sharia, change the deen of Allah. Choose to be foolish. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, choose to be a mullah. Choose to be someone that is considered and despised by the people, but don't fall into Rasulullah, don't fall into the sin. Don't disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter what people think about you, there's an obsession, there is a desire to be accepted by everybody. In Pashto, my father, Rahmatullah, said, Harcha Khan, everybody's Khan, he used to call him. Yeah? This is Harcha Khan, everybody's trying to appease everybody. But be careful, even if you make everybody happy, it's fine. But don't cross the line of Sharia. Don't displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't choose disobedience. That's not an option. Right? The next hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "An Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu qala qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la tuntaquna kama yuntaqa at-tamru min aghfalihi, fala yadhhabanna khiyarukum wa la yabqayanna shirarukum, famutu in istata'tum." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you'll be sifted like dates sifted, and how you separate the good dates from the low quality dates or the rotten dates. And your good people will be sifted and taken. The good ones among you, like you take out the good dates, they will be plucked, meaning they'll pass away. And only the worst and the most wicked will remain. Is in this time, if you can die, meaning if you can die, then just die. If you can leave this world, this is a really bad time to be. That if a person can die in this time, he just die. The last hadith for tonight, the Rasulullah's the rebelliousness or disobedience of men and women. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that I wish I can see my ummah after me. ليت شعري كيف أمتي بعدي حين تتبختر رجالهم وتمرح نساؤهم وليت الشعر حين يصيرون صنفين صنفا ناصب نحورهم في سبيل الله وصنفا عمال غير الله تعالى. That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he wished to see his ummah. What will the condition of my ummah when that time will come upon the ummah, and what he has, that you see this ummah in such a condition that the men, they strut around arrogantly, and the women they wander around, showing themselves in the marketplaces, in the shopping center, wandering around in the shopping centers and the public, because that's not the place where women traditionally were. They're in their homes, so they'll be out and about in the streets and in the marketplaces. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I wish that I see how it would be when I see my ummah. I'm sort of paraphrasing the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that how would it be when my ummah, they'll be divided into two groups. One group, this such extreme will come into the ummah. One group, they will give their life for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will sacrifice for the deen. There is no price high enough. They will sacrifice their life, their wealth, everything for the deen. Their emotions, everything is sacrificed. There's no holding back. And another group that they will for the other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they will do everything, their whole life's obsession is to do for the work for the other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How will be the condition of my ummah when one group will be ready to sacrifice everything and another group, and they will sacrifice everything, and another group extreme will come in the ummah where all their concern will be is the other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be worried about governments, they'll be worried about the council, they'll worry about the neighbors, they'll be worried about their co-workers, they'll be worried about their boss, but they will never ever worry about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if Allah is pleased with them or not. They will never worry that the amal is presented to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether he's happy with them or not. They don't worry that on the day of judgment they'll have to face Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's no concern about akhirah, there's no concern about Jannah, Jahannam. Their whole obsession is what the ghayrullah, the creation of Allah, is thinking. There's so many around us today of people like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to practice what we say in here. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.